our second game of the series. If there's a particular map that you want to see between these two teams, what would you like to see?
It's nothing specifically. I feel in general I just enjoy Cursed Hollow, so I would love if Cursed Hollow makes an appearance here. Towers of Doom is always a lot of fun as well. So those are probably the two maps that I would enjoy the most.
Yeah, I think for me it's Infernal Shrines and then Towers of Doom, because I feel like Leftovers, again, is hanging with these teams when it comes to macro. It's just a matter of getting a few wins here and there based on their play when it comes to mercenary camps, etc. So I would love to see those battlegrounds, because you have that trade-off of, okay, should we go over here? Should we go over here? Should we try to set up for this boss camp, right? And see if your opponent is able to answer back, especially on Cursed Hollow, the map that you were talking about.
Yeah, when talking Dragonshire, this is the first map, and it was the map choice of Fnatic, and there's also a reason for it, especially since Leftovers have now played the map 3 times and have not won a single one. So they're 0-3 here at this point. So it's definitely not really a battleground that caters towards their own strengths, and that's something that we have to remember going forward now, that was the map choice that Fnatic made, and they themselves on a 2-1 streak now.
Well, let's go to the battleground here and see what's going to happen in game number 2 between these two teams, as we actually are going to be going to Cursed Hollow.
Nice.
Fnatic with the choice.
Cursed Hollow for Fnatic. So Leftovers have played 1 game on Cursed, they won, and Fnatic also was successful once.
So Cursed Hollow, Hanzo, Dehaka, Yrel, Blaze, Abathur, Tracer, Encyclopedia of Heroes.
Abathur more so than anything really stands out again. And Fnatic, with Shrimpy now having a much bigger impact than he had with Quacknix on the team when it comes to drafting and also rotations, they are just willing to drop that Valera.
Yeah.
So it's not only Valera as a hero, they have a lot more drafts that are a bit more out there. They talked in the first week, or in the second week actually, they mentioned how in week number 1, they might have been a little bit too overboard with trying to show too much and to be flexible in the way that they draft. So they said, okay, we need to tone it down a little bit, but at the same time, we're still willing to drop that draft where we think, okay, this is going to be the one curveball that is going to set us apart. We don't have to always go straight meta. We have a few ideas here of what we can pull off.
They want to be varied and they want to surprise you, which is always a good tool to have in your tool belt if you are going to be able to pull that in drafts. The issue is that when you try to do that a little bit too much and you don't win series, that's when it starts to backfire a little bit. We'll see if they can pull that out here, though. Remember, we're still looking for that 2-2 for them, as they are currently 1-2 in the HGC so far.
And this is a match that they need to win, because the problem is if they lose to Leftovers, Leftovers would pass them in the standings, and that would push Fnatic into a position where they're all of a sudden not qualified for the Western Clash anymore. And that would be a massive, massive upset. So for Fnatic, a victory is crucial.
Well, good start so far, being up 1-0. Abathur banned out for Leftovers, so it seems that Leftovers agree with you, Kalendor. Abathur pretty important on this battleground. Looking over to Fnatic, ban coming soon.
Yeah, for Fnatic's ban, this is one where I'm not 100% certain. You can still ban out Genji, but again, Shrimpy had a bit of Shrimpy has a bit of different priorities when it comes to that. And since this is a big battleground, you could still make arguments for banning, let's say, Dehaka on the map and saying, okay, we don't want our opponent to have a global here. We want to make sure that we're not getting out macroed in the long run.
I think in this point, you're thinking about DA being his Tracer. If you ban Genji, he gets the Tracer, and he's willing to run it without potentially a double support backing him up.
Yeah, and with Abathur, it's also just a question. I think Fnatic would really like to play, sorry, not Abathur, Dehaka here. They would probably love to go for that. And Karazim banned super early. Now that's a ban, again, we've seen that for the second time now, but on a first ban position, that's really interesting. There's the Tracer.
This should be
again
for Shrimpy, right?
DAB.
So you take Malf Genji here? Or do you consider Tassadar?
I think one of the early picks is going to be Dehaka.
Yeah.
I really think with the priority that they had for Dehaka in the past and the way that we've seen it played, yeah, Dehaka.
Wow, okay.
Dehaka and Genji. It's just like, it feels like Last Hope really enjoys to play the hero. They like to have that global as a tool in the game. And so if available, I would say Dehaka on a big map like Cursed Hollow is a great tool for them. Again, that gives, of course, other heroes over. You can now play Tassadar if you're Leftovers.
Yeah.
So you can still have your choice between do you play Malfurion, do you go into Rhaegar again later if you don't value the support that highly, or do you try and drop even Deckard Cain here? What's going to be the choice? And traditionally, Tracer would be strongest with Malfurion and Tassadar, but we have so many good supports now that I don't think you have to commit to Malfurion already.
Sure.
Tassadar, on the other hand, should be a shoe-in, and then it's just a question, do you, for example, want to have your offlane already and start with Yrel?
Or do you even want to have Muradin, who is a strong powerhouse in this battleground? Do you want to have him in this first rotation? Because there is a chance that he can get banned out or your opponents get him up. Leftovers completely stay away from the Tassadar though, and they move into Blaze Diablo. Protection, good front wall here. Any support should be well behind that. And if Tracer can deal and play around that bunker, it should be fine if Tassadar or Malfurion is to be banned out.
The Zealots setup was exactly the early picks that we saw from Zealots when they were playing against Team Liquid, and that actually led to Team Liquid on the last maps taking Blaze Diablo either away or banning it out to make sure that that combo didn't end up in the hands of their opponent again, since Liquid realized how powerful that was and that Zealots heavily relied on it to get victories against Liquid. So now Fnatic going up against that same strategy. They can still ban out Tassadar here. Still an option for them. Or you target the support.
You go with the Tassadar ban, just to be safe.
Talking about Dehaka, by the way, we have 2 wins for Fnatic on Dehaka and 3 losses, so they have a negative win rate with it. But it's still their most played hero. There's no other hero that they pick as much as they pick Dehaka. They pick him in 36% of their games. So even though they have those losses, they're still saying, yeah, this is the tool that works the best for us because it provides us so much flexibility here. There's a Tassadar ban. I would say that was the obvious one. I could have seen them head into another ban here for sure, but I think the obvious ban against the composition that runs the Tracer is Tassadar.
I was wondering about like non-obvious picks. I mean, maybe you can ban out a Phoenix here if you want to stay away from the Diablo composition and just having Tracer have that one soul support, because that would be a pretty terrifying setup with Tracer clearing up anyone that is weak. Leftovers go for the obvious Warrior ban and they take away the Muradin, but it shouldn't be too big of an issue here for Fnatic. Breeze obviously willing to flex in anything that comes his way.
Yeah, this is a curious one for me, what Fnatic is now going to do, how they're going to react to this. Especially Main's hero is something that I'm very interested in. Are we going to see Li Ming from him?
I think so. He's played against Tracer before. He seems to enjoy that.
Exactly. I think that would be a really good pick, unless, of course, they are looking for some completely different synergy, let's say, with a different tank here.
So we'll see the Li Ming. I'm more curious about the support with Karazim being banned out. Typically, I like a Karazim with the Genji, especially what they have against with Blaze and Diablo coming in for that second and third pick.
I'm still wondering why Karazim was banned in the first place, and so far I'm not seeing an answer to that question.
Yeah, I don't know. Guess a little bit worried about Leftovers going for an aggressive composition.
But Leftovers picked Karazim twice.
Yeah.
So it's not like they had a massive amount of Karazim plays.
Could have just been a throwaway ban. They're like, you know what, we'll just ban Karazim. So they can leave open Tracer and Genji, which has resulted in the drafts that we have here.
Leftovers played Karazim the last time they were in Cursed Hollow. There was a very, very different composition where they were running with Genji, Muradin, Blaze, Phoenix. So it was a very, very different setup for them.
All right, well, Greymane and Decker comes out. So we'll actually get Mene on Greymane here.
Greymane.
Speaking of dive, though, gosh. Greymane, Genji coming out. Is there a world where we maybe get Tyrael for Breeze here? For a 5th pick?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Maiev and Malfurion comes out. Maiev, there's one we haven't seen in a while. Gosh, Leftovers have an incredible composition. Maiev into a Tether, into a Jet Propulsion, into a Malfurion route. Typically equals dead people.
Greymane, just to continue the sorry story of the Wolf, is on 2 wins and 13 losses now.
The big bad wolf.
Including the games that we've seen today. Yeah, so far he's not really been a real bad boy.
Yeah.
In Phase 2. That might change. I mean, he's still a good tool against Tracer. It's not like Greymane doesn't offer anything against her. There's a reason that they're going into Greymane here. They can, actually they have even options. They can go into Cursed Bullet against Diablo. They can go for the Throat, which would be the main tool you're trying to use when you're going up against Tracer, and she's your main priority to take down. But Fnatic's draft is still, I think you're absolutely right. Leftovers have a powerful setup here.
Genji's got to play lights out. Main tank should be coming in. I think Tyrael a little bit too scary with that Maiev now. Just a little bit too control. Fnatic can get the Garrosh instead.
Garrosh was the one hero that I had in my mind a bit after they banned out Karazim, because that's one of the heroes where it starts, where you think Karazim ban would make a bit of sense.
Yeah. Armor not affected by percent damage, so Kerosene cleared up a 7-sided strike.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I have no clue why that Kerosene ban. I don't mind banning out Kerosene. It's just what's interesting. What I find surprising is the priority. That you ban Kerosene on the first spot when you're going up against Leftovers and you know that they love to run a Tracer with DAB. I mean, even if you don't go for the Tracer ban, I think there's still a huge amount of other heroes that I personally would have expected them to prioritize as a ban before they go into Kerosene. And then if they feel they want to play Garrosh and they need to try and take the 7-sided away, then they can still head into a Kerosene ban on the second ban. Because I just don't see Kerosene as a pick in the 1-2 here for Leftovers. I don't think that it's such a high priority. So that's one of the things that there must be something happening where they played some scrims against them, where some other consideration comes in that we just don't see here, because that's still one where I'm looking at and I'm like, okay, I'm struggling to understand what's
It feels like the draft is a little freestyled, but then again, there might be something that we don't know. So let's go ahead and move into it here on game number 1. We'll see if this pays off here. As Fnatic on the left side, we'll have Breeze on Garrosh, Last Hope on Dahaka, Mana on Greymane, Schwimpy on Genji, and Smexy playing Deckard Kane.
Fnatic is in the lead in this series. Game number 2 in Cursed Hollow, as we see Leftovers to the right side with Linked on support. He plays Malfurion. Blakidney, Maiev, we have Polyboss on Blaze, going for that off-lane fight. Mopsio on Diablo, and DAB on his Tracer, the hero that made him stand out in part 1, or phase 1 of 2018.
That's right, last season, the two that really stood out, granted we have great Tracer players on every single team, but DAB and Make, when they had Tracer, it felt like their teams were elevated to be able to earn wins, and we expect that to do well here for Leftovers, given that Tracer is a saving grace for them. Already they're setting up for that. Who I'll be keeping an eye on for is Blakidney on Maiev. Maiev with the ability to force fights with the Blaze follow-up into a Jet Propulsion is a deadly combo that was ran for a couple months, actually, here in the HGC.
Yeah, Maiev had definitely times where she was insanely popular and very, very powerful. She still sees value, and we have had her 5 times in phase 2. So far, she has 2 wins and 3 losses, and actually all of these games have been played by the Leftovers. So Leftovers is the only team in phase 1 that has played Maiev so far. This is the 6th game that they play with her.
Seem to really enjoy her. And why not? When you decide you want to force a fight, you should go in for it. And honestly, Mopsio, whenever he's on main tanks, he wants to fight in certain areas. We saw a lot there with the Muradin. Expect to see that with the Diablo, as they'll be looking for their engages. Now it's about the giant camp timing as both teams grab some. Maiev on the bottom right, Mana on Greymane in the top left corner. We'll get that pushing in. And with the tribute being on the bottom side, Fnatic would love to keep these alive.
One of the interesting stats actually for the game is that if you look at the hero diversity that we see from the two teams, Fnatic is currently the team in HGC that has played the most heroes by far. There are 34 different heroes that have been played. And when you look at Leftovers, they're the team with the least heroes played. They only have played 20 different heroes.
Wow. Well, when you think something works, why switch it up, right?
It makes you a bit predictable maybe at times, but outside of that, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just shows that they're a bit more narrow. That might become a concern once we have the 3rd ban in. Maybe then certain roles can be targeted more heavily by opponents, but I'm also pretty sure that Leftovers are going to adapt to that pretty soon and just enlarge in that hero pool.
Leftovers attempting to try and clear out these giants so they can rotate down this tribute that will be spawning soon. But Fnatic putting up a fight with Garrosh and Dahaka there. Eventually they gave up on that idea as Garrosh was thinking about rotating down to the middle. As he continues to dance around looking for anyone that might be sharking up to force a fight, but with Tracer and Malfurion in the bottom lane, nothing should be popping out.
I just don't see that confidence in Fnatic that I expect. The first game, really, I can put that aside a bit because after the early game, Fnatic did well. But with how long they waited until they confirmed the 5th pick, sometimes we read a little bit too much in this, and it's just players using that time to talk about something else. But it really felt a bit as if they weren't really too happy with the draft, and I could totally see that here. Now, on execution level, you would still expect them to have the upper hand, though. The individual skill on all of these players is fantastic, but they need to now show that they have that synergy to make these plays. They're already trying with Breeze to go for Blakidney. That didn't work out. Pressure was also on Linked and DAB, but they couldn't confirm a kill there either. Now the first tribute is up, and the global is in the hands of Leftovers. So that's a decision where both of the teams have now to think about, okay, do we rotate Blaze down? Do we keep him top? The Haka, sorry, is in the hands of Fnatic, of course. So now the question just remains on how do you use the side banners here.
But Kidney using the tether will dash forward. Here comes the root. Indomitable will make sure that Breeze cannot be locked down. Blaze in the middle lane though, still not here. So Leftovers continue to be in a 4v4 versus Fnatic. Should be to keep up with that wave clear. Typically with a Blaze, you'll rotate him down once the fight eventually does break out. But Leftovers not setting Blaze down, so it looks like they're going to be content with maybe giving away this tribute. They're just going to try and delay as long as possible.
Yeah, both of them are just locked into that 4 versus 4, and the Haka is making rotations to the top lane, to the bot lane. He's still here, though. He's actually even I mean, he could move down and then burrow top, but he's going to start and lose some experience at the top lane because that small wave is now being cleaned up. Leftovers and Fnatic are going to reach level 7 around the same time here, but that fight is still continuing.
Diablo trying to chuck around here on the left side, but with Breathe should be coming over. They're going to put some damage on him. Lane's got him covered, though. Brings up the heal while Kidney almost gets this tribute. Delayed at the last second.
And the rotation between the solo laners is still there. The Haka made his way to the top. Both of the teams fairly even here in XP, but that fight is just ongoing. And also with this fight lasting this long, it makes sure that we have the second tribute already fought very close to level 10.
Another tether comes out, trying to pull Breeze into the root. Does not connect. Indomitable helping out there. Mopsio going for that engage after seeing that throw. Here comes Schwimpy though as he puts damage on Link. Link trying to stay alive though. He's in trouble. Last Hope comes over and helps get the kill. Schwimpy almost falls himself but able to dash out. DAB gonna chase him down, try and get the pick off. Will he get it? He does. He takes out Genji. Maiev comes in with a tether, but we already have a pick off once again as Diablo falls.
Yeah, and they're going to try for Kidney next. Boss on the other hand comes in and gets the jet propulsion. The tribute is picked. Fnatic's got 2 kills for 1, so they're going to be happy with that spot as long as they can move away from it. Breeze still under attack, and DAB is looking for another kill, but he can't find it. So Schwimpy sacrifices himself here, and they get the double kill, they get the tribute. So right now, Fnatic in a decent spot here early on in the game.
Now they are. Titan experience is Leftovers though. 8.25 to both of them. Giants Night Camp will be the focus for both of our teams. You see the Giants already being grabbed by Leftovers. Night Camp a little bit delayed, whereas Fnatic has just started theirs on their left side. Leftovers will have the option to potentially grab their Night Camp on the later side. Fnatic can also wait for this tribute to spawn and then grab the Night Camp. You want to try and time that out to make sure your opponent has a harder time defending it.
Especially since there's no Night Camp claimed on Leftover side, this should give them some value. And Last Hope, of course, at the top lane can once more rely on his global. I actually would expect that Leftovers even think about giving this one up, just simply because it's spawning a little bit closer to Fnatic. The only thing that they could really do, which I would also like, is if they can stall it out long enough to force a level 10. That might deter Fnatic from claiming it and would allow Leftovers to make an aggressive play for the second tribute.
DAB is putting some damage on Minute there, as he's trying to clear up the wave clear. 10, the main goal for both of our teams.
But this is a play where the Haka is going to get value topside, so you need to make sure that you make a snap play for this one. And maybe Schwimpy can try and go for an additional interrupt. Breeze is already sitting there. Kidney with the zoning, no level 10 yet. Breeze actually misses it, and there's the tribute channeled through by Diablo. Bit unfortunate for Fnatic. If they get the interrupt, then it's more time for the Haka to get value with the Siege Giant Camp. They might get level 10 at the same time as Leftovers or shortly after and then be able to contest it. But as it stands, the teams are still very, very even.
But solid force there from Leftovers saying, okay, we want to grab this before you hit the level 10. Maybe we can force a burrow from the Haka before he gets that 10. They do not allow him to have the space to be able to get that value that Fnatic was looking for. So solid play there by Leftovers. And we're tied up in tributes. 1-1. Fnatic starting their boss here. DAB about to scout it out.
Now Fnatic taking a risk with this one, and DAB has found it out. Now the camp in the mid lane is taken. Fnatic would be in a horrible spot if they now lose out on the boss and they can't take it. But here comes the rotation. The Haka needs to be ready, and he's actually there. Leftovers is a bit too slow. They have Diablo still in the mid lane, so they give up the boss. And that opens up a lot of opportunities and possible choices for Fnatic. Rotation topside, trying to take a double boss, push with this one, make the play for the tribute. So Fnatic now with a lot of options, and Leftovers have to make a choice. And if they lose Diablo here, that would be actually a horrible start for them.
Tossed into the fight, but Mopsio is actually to survive. Even stay on a while listen actually being used. DAB trying to rotate over, but Schwimpy prevents that from happening.
The Haka is top on the side now, and we have the clear in the middle. Tribute is up in a few seconds, and DAB is the only one who clears the camp to the bot lane. Mane has, of course, that wave clear that he can now use in the middle. But yeah, Breeze checking the bush, and they're starting to make that play. And Tracer is still at the bottom of the map.
Yeah, they give this up if they have to. It's only going to be the second tribute. They more have an issue is if they get picked off and then suddenly a boss play comes in. They're going to go with the safer option, looks like, just clearing out that boss, have Tracer rotate over. Do have some pretty good delay tactics, too.
Yeah, nice interrupt here. Podeos is doing a fantastic job with this. The boss is still active at the bot lane, but gets finally cleaned up by the fort. The wave is still there, though, and that fort is losing hit points rapidly. Fnatic might not be able to take it down completely, but it's still going to be ripe for the picking later on.
Karos taking some damage. Pulse Bomb comes in. DAB tries to get some auto attacks, get hit with a scroll, though. Has to be careful, backs up to Malfurion to get healed up. Last Hope finds a good drag, though. Goes straight on in, hits the isolation on top of Mopsio. Bunker will be used, trying to get cleansed out. Big taunt from Breeze. Turns around, does the combo. Shwimpy comes in with the dragon, as he's going to put some damage on with that Swift Strike.
Taunt into the scroll, the second kill. Blaze has fallen. Shwimpy with the damage. Even Mopsio's Lightning Breath can't change that. Another root setup. Last Hope with the drag. Pulse Bomb does a lot of work, but it's not enough, and Mopsio dies. Triple kill, and they try to go for Tracer now. Here comes the X-Strike. Malfurion has problems, so does Tracer. She's down already, and Shwimpy just isn't done. He continues the work. A full team wipe as Malfurion falls. Great play here again by Fnatic. 1 level lead. They look at level 13. They get the second tribute, and they're looking strong here, especially when it comes to teamfight coordination.
Gosh, Breeze able to land that big taunt right outside the bunker, expiring, making sure he can set up the 3 combo, and then the Swift Strikes coming in from Genji to make sure to put out that damage. And of course, when you have Greymane auto-tucking to the side, perfect setup from Fnatic as they get 7 kills to 1 over the Leftovers.
Yeah, they're looking really strong when it comes to team fights. And also the moves on the map are looking a bit more solid here. Definitely finding the value with the aggression that they are showing here. Leftovers have a fantastic draft, but they so far can't really... They have a real problem syncing all of their abilities up and getting a really good engage. Several times we saw heroes now caught out. I also like the way that we saw Dehaka come in and immediately make sure that Malfurion couldn't get a lot of value there. So they pulled him away from the fight. Bunker was there, but Greymane just shredded that within seconds. And then there was just no defensive tool anymore for Leftovers to keep those heroes alive. And they might have to accept the curse here. They're looking for the 13 talent, but Smexy is easily channeling that through, and that's curse number 1.
Curse 1, and they're going to look to push the bottom lane. Already working those Giants. You have Last Hope, who can soak between lanes, even delaying Blaze on his rotation down, which should give his 4-man a bit more of a strength there in terms of pushing onto that keep. Even Watchtower being grabbed, as Last Hope's going to have those Giants to push in. Shwimpy trying to put some damage on top of DAB, and is successful.
This is also Last Hope is going to get so much value to the top. With him putting the pressure onto Blaze and forcing him to tap and retreat here, the problem is that this camp that we see at the top lane is not going to be cleared. So it has so much power there. Here comes the cage at the bot lane. Mana is low, and he's the target. But again, they stay a while and get dragged. Down they go. Tracer falls, and Diablo is dead too. Last Hope burrows bot lane. They're making the play. The Siege Giant cap at the top is still pushing out, and Leftovers are starting to fall apart here as they're now 3 levels behind, and 16 is in the hands of Fnatic.
Perfect response there from Deckard Cain. Smexy able to land the stay a while listen, hitting both the tanks and the back line, allowing for Genji to once again go in and get the primary targets. With Greymane on top of a keep, you are going to shred that puppy quickly, and the Wolf will howl as he clears it up. That's going to be a keep. Catapult pushing the bottom lane in a 3-level lead.
Yeah, the Smexter again with the setup here through the old man, and that is just brutal. It's also, I mean, we talked about this a bit earlier, but I still want to highlight the cursed bullet that we see on Greymane. Traditionally, when you have a Tracer, the thought process is oftentimes really to put the pressure on her. Make sure that you have that go for the throw.
Yeah.
But instead, they're saying, hey, with a short cooldown on Cursed Bullet, we can really start to threaten the front line here with the rest of the setup that we have, and that's exactly what they're doing here. They have the damage output against Tracer. Especially Shwimpy is just chasing DAB down whenever he has a chance. He lands that Swift Strike, he gets that damage in, and then Tracer is on half health, needs to retreat. Malfurion is attempting to babysit, but that also deters him from keeping the rest alive. So it's a pretty big... It's a really nice dynamic that we have from Fnatic, just shifting things around a little bit, and so they have more targets during a team fight that they can attack it. It really shows.
You're going to have to be careful too, because Fnatic is getting a lot of great Swift Strikes, especially with that Steady Blade coming online at 16, but Leftovers going for a Hail Mary play, realizing, okay, we're pretty far behind, and we may have to force the issue against Fnatic.
They do no damage here.
They are trying to clear up this boss, and it hasn't been scattered out quite yet.
Yeah, Fnatic is not realizing what's going on. I mean, look how long they need to take that boss. If Fnatic sees that, they make the play. But Fnatic actually, they know what's up. They haven't seen it, but as they don't see anyone at the top, they are just saying, boys, let's just go for the top. Take the boss at the top. We're going to get enough out of that. In the meantime, the fort in the mid lane is nearly falling as the camp pulls through, and now Fnatic can try and make a play for a second keep. Because let's not forget, bot lane already has catapult spawning, so that boss is going to be cleared out eventually by the lanes themselves.
Yep, at least Leftovers here. as a position to where they can defend this keep in the top right corner with the boss coming in, but Fnatic is trying to mitigate that defense as much as they can as they already head up to the top lane, put a little damage there, and force Leftovers' hand. They bring all 5, and they are still sitting at 15.5 in experience because they get that fort in the bottom left, but still don't have 16. They have to defend, or they have to force at a talent disadvantage.
Yeah, that keep is a goner. At least it should be. Leftovers is going to try and force the fight behind it. They have actually a great engage here, and they're going for Breeze. Breeze is down. That was fantastic play by Leftovers, finding the quick kill here, but the keep still falls. Fnatic, they might have lost Breeze here. They can't close out the game, but they still get the keep itself, and that is worth a lot. Smexy might even be able to get the channel through here.
Buddy wants to try and get over. Can he get the wheel in time? Tosses it. Ooh, the drag from Last Hope to stop it. Great delay. He might cost his life, though.
Yeah, but I'm still calling worth.
Drag and killed.
Yeah, well done. Boss at the bot lane has been cleared out by the catapults. Dehaka sacrifices himself to make sure that the channel goes through. Now, you could have let this one go. But at the same time, if you let it go, you might be forced into a fight before level 20 where you have to take a battle over the next tribute just simply because Leftovers are threatening Curse.
Yep.
And as you have already 2 keeps taken out, the lanes are being pressured as they are, so you know that you are going to be in a great spot if you can just prevent Leftovers from getting the Curse. So that's why I still think the sacrifice of the Haka was well worth it.
Leftovers identifying that reality that they may have to fight at level 20, so they take the time they do have now, especially after the couple of kills, to get some needed experience.
Exactly, because now you can let this one go. Fnatic they can fight for this tribute, but Fnatic could completely decide to let that tribute go here, because they will have 20 by the time the next one comes in, and they have 2 lanes pushing already. So I like the decision of Fnatic. I think it was a worthy trade, especially since there was still a chance that Dehaka might even get out of this.
The Leftovers are going to give up this catapults in the bottom right. Now, they do get Giants to slow that down, but Genji should be able to clear that up. He's going to sneak over there and get that pushing towards that core, so multiple catapults should be heading there soon. Leftovers grab the tribute as Fnatic gives it up. Okay, so they should be in a good spot for defense. Solid for them as Shrimpy hangs around the corner here to soak experience.
Yeah, Toblin gets pressure out here, but Shrimpy has been clearing waves the entire time. He has the mobility to do that. He doesn't have the straight-up global, but he's still a great hero to make these plays, especially when the rest of the team keeps a bit of an eye on the potential rotations. And of course, they're just waiting for 20 now, and they're so close. There's the next tribute. This is the one that would curse Fnatic if the Leftovers get it, but Leftovers are pretty busy trying to just make sure. Oh, this is an early fight here. Bullet comes out, Mobstio in trouble, and the kill. Great trap. Kill pre-20. They get the drag against Maiev as well. The cage comes down. The attempt to make it work. Great jet propulsion. And we have Malfurion falling. Even Fnatic loses another 1 or 2. They should be able to win the fight itself. Boss is dead, so is DAB, and Fnatic is just absolutely melting the Leftovers.
Man, and jumping on Malfurion in the back right, making sure they couldn't fall up into the root and put out any extra healing for the team. Fnatic finding a surprise they need on Mobstio as they clean up Diablo, and they'll turn their attention to the core. They don't even need to get a curse here as they drop it quickly and swiftly. Fnatic in the series going up 2-0 over the Leftovers.
14 kills against 3, looking strong and powerful here. More so what we expected. As we said before, the start into game number 1 was maybe a bit more shaky than we thought, especially that first Dragon Eye that got taken away from them. But ever since that first decay, they looked strong, and it was a well-coordinated fight here.
Yeah.
And yeah, very well done, especially the macro calls too. It wasn't only the team fight coordination, it was everything around it as well.
I like the surprise call there towards the end, also in that bottom right. Bush, typically you would be in a spot where it's like, okay, we don't want to force issues before level 20 as we don't want to get caught out and suddenly our opponents are able to win a team fight. But they had the confidence that they could get that surprise and blow up Diablo fast enough that it really did pay off for them and allowed for them to move in for the win. So that display, although it's something that a lot of people probably advise against if you're in a situation where your opponent gets the upper hand in that fight and get experience, it shows the confidence they have in this matchup.
This is what we need to see from them. Step it up, make sure that you get these games. And as we said before, map score, it's so important. So right now, take it with a 3-0 if you can. And for Leftovers, the opposite is obviously true. The map scores really matter. Even if you can't secure a match win against Fnatic, if you take a few maps here, that really helps you to establish your own position in that midfield where you can still attack the top 4.
We'll see the Leftovers